Hello, this is the monthly update for March 2026, and I am very excited. I have a lot to share. It's possible that some of you watching this are podcast hosts, um, because I'm reaching out to a lot of people right now. I'm going to share more about this in a second. So, if you are seeing this and you're like, what the hell is going on? I do a video like this, not edited, not cut, every single month at the beginning of the month, recapping what happened last month. I do this since many years already, and yeah, it allows me to go back in time and just know exactly what happened in any specific month. So a little bit like a public video diary entry that I'm doing. Yeah, I feel incredible. I feel so good. Life is so beautiful, and I want to start with an insight that I had around that. So it would be cool to explain it visually, but I'm just going to use my words. If we use a metaphor, okay, that imagine you're looking at a building, like a skyscraper, and the higher that building is, the better is your life, okay? Now, there's two ways we can get a bigger building, in a sense. The one is to just try to make the building taller, right? To build on top of it. And what that would represent is we just try to make more money, we just try to literally move into a bigger house or build more muscles or do all of those external things to improve our life. But here's the thing. If you are far away from a skyscraper, it looks very tiny. Even if it gets like 10 meters higher, you wouldn't even be able to tell if you're like 500 meters away. So the other factor here is our perspective. If you've ever, probably everyone has that, if you've ever stood like underneath a skyscraper and you looked up, it just looks so huge. And this is something that's much easier to do. It has the same effect. The effect that we want is a feeling, right? It doesn't really matter how much money is on a bank account, how like all of those things don't really matter, because no one wants to be rich and depressed. So one of the reasons why I feel so incredible lately is because I've been practicing to look at my life in a way that I see all the amazing things. It's always been great. I mean, always. I mean, I had ups and downs, but like my life is set up in a really beautiful way. But if I don't see it, if I'm like really far away and I just see the skyscraper like in the distance, it's not going to give me much joy and pleasure. So changing the perspective, kind of getting closer to it, and then seeing that, wow, this is really tall. Yeah, that's what's been happening. I've been really dedicated to my practice on just choosing perspectives that allow me to feel really, really good. And to just be so proud of the life that I've built and yeah, experience a lot of joy. More about maybe that later, because there's something I want to talk about around all the terrible things that are happening in the world and news and our responsibility to stay informed. More about that later. Yeah, so what happened kind of on the outside, it's gotten warmer. We've been in the park basically every weekend, hanging out with friends, like playing spike ball, playing frisbee. That was amazing. One thing that wasn't that great is 2 weekends ago, I played padel and I hurt my foot a little bit. It's called turf toe, so I overextended my big toe on one foot because I landed in a weird way. So now I'm taking it easy. Probably another week or two. Little bit annoying, but really not that big of a deal. I also have so many things going on right now that I'm just happy that I have a little bit more time for those. Then in the middle of the month, in March, I had a friend come to visit, an old friend from Germany. And that was really cool. I took a mini holiday. We were just hanging out and being out, playing frisbee. It was great. And with him, I had a few times a conversation around watching the news. And then I had a very similar conversation with a coaching client of mine. And I just feel called to talk a little bit about it. To me, it's pretty clear that the main job of the news is not to inform us, but to get attention and hold attention. Right? It's like any other show at the end. It's profit driven, and as we all hopefully know, it's like bad news, the terrible stories, they work better. They grab our attention more. Our psychology responds more to it. And this friend, he believes that he has some kind of responsibility or duty to stay informed, to know about all the things that are happening, or at least a lot of them, politically and wars and like all of that stuff. And when I asked him how he feels about it, what's happening, he said disappointed. Which is understandable, right? If you look at it like this and you're like, why are humans doing such terrible things? Why are our leaders not leading better? Okay, he feels disappointed. And then what? Disappointment is not a feeling that drives us into action. Anger sometimes maybe can be, but most of the people, myself included, if I hear about a war somewhere, I'm not gonna really do anything about it. And I don't feel any guilt about that because I have my mission. I have my purpose. I know how I can contribute in the best possible way. So being constantly reminded of the terrible things that are happening in the world and then feeling bad about that, I don't think it's helpful at all. In fact, I think we need to protect our emotional state. That's really our duty. Because how can we create a better future if we feel angry, if we feel disappointed, if we feel depressed, if we feel just hopeless and pessimistic? We can't. We need to be in a state of inspiration, of motivation, of like positivity, of hope to make a positive impact. So what it looks like to protect our own state is different for every person. There might be people who watch the news every day and who still have a very positive outlook, and maybe, hard to imagine for me, but maybe. It's different for everyone. If you're active in a specific sector, maybe you want to or need to be informed to do your work. But for the normal person who's spending their leisure time watching news, or it could be social media as well, right? Like whatever. Watching content that makes us not feel positive, makes us feel angry and upset, and then justifying it with we have a responsibility, I really don't think that's healthy or helpful. Yeah, so those are my 2 cents on that topic. Another topic, I have my notes here. Big topic for the whole year. I think I've said it before. The theme for the year is money for me and for Diara as well. And so I just finished reading The Art of Spending Money. Really cool book. Got some useful insights out of that. And there's a really cool model in the book of 15 levels of financial independence. And then I took those 15 levels, I adjusted them to our situation, because this is also quite written for people in normal jobs, employees, and we run our own businesses. So I adjusted it a little bit, printed it out, and then it's gonna go up on the wall somewhere. So we can just keep in mind like what we really want, more than just status or I don't know, other like fancy stuff, is more freedom. And so how can we have a relationship with money where it gives us more freedom? Diara started reading Rich Dad Poor Dad recently. That's exciting. And then on the weekend, we are going to start building a dashboard, a financial dashboard with the help of AI that pulls together all of our assets, our expenses, and we can just create something that we really like. Right now, we have an Excel sheet. It works, not as fun to use. Yeah. Yeah, and also in the spirit of money, of expansion, of generating more income, is that both Jan and I have signed up some new clients. We feel very excited about that and just leveling up together, right? Like, it's so beautiful that we make a living by helping other people expand and get to the next level and make more money themselves. So yeah, really, really excited to support those people. Oh yeah, and something that came through in my coaching recently, it's not really anything new, but it just came through in a new way, is the importance of holding the highest possibility. Finding what is the highest possibility that we have, that we can access in our own lives, for our businesses, for the impact we want to create, and then holding that in our awareness, in our mind, as much as possible. Because like life, the best way to predict the future is to create it. And if, in theory, pretty much anything is possible. Like, there are crazy stories of people like scaling their impact and their business in a short amount of time, generating huge contribution and huge wealth with that. So in theory, already a lot is possible. But if we aim here, it's unlikely that we end up here. If we aim here, we have a chance that we end up here. But even if not, and we just go to here, we're still creating the biggest impact, the biggest actualization of who we are and the life that we can create. Not that we will be happier here than here. This is a completely different question, but just holding the highest possibility. And the same is true for ourselves. The more we can see our greatness, the more we have a potential to get to this greatness. And I think a lot of people, they think, well, I don't want to think too high of myself or of what I'm capable of. I want to be humble, I want to be realistic. But when we look at the people who have achieved greatness, what they have in common is they saw themselves as the greatest before they achieved it. Right? They identified as the greatest at whatever they were doing, and that allowed them to step into that reality. So yeah, holding the possibility, feeling permission to do that for ourselves and for the world, the future, for all of us, is, I think, very important, and I'm very excited about that. Right? I'm not like, I need to be realistic, I shouldn't dream too big because then I might get disappointed. Like, there's so many little traps on why people have resistance even going there. Yeah, for now that's enough. Yeah, and then podcasting. So that has been on my mind for literally years. And I had my own podcast in the past, and now I feel really called to just become the best podcast guest I can be, and to have amazing conversations with people who have podcasts. And that came with a commitment, because I was talking to my coach, and he said, can you commit to be on 20 podcasts in the next 60 days? I was like, whoa, that seems like a lot, but like, I'm game. Let's do it. So that was a few days ago. I'm going to share more about how that all went at the end of this month, April. But yeah, I already have 3 podcast interviews scheduled. I feel excited about it. One is in a few hours, actually, the first one. And I have our assistant also helping with that and reaching out. So far, I'm just using this platform called Podmatch. which seems to be really good. I'm very happy so far. Yeah, commitments. Commitments are powerful, and I've made a few powerful commitments recently. One of them is to join a 75-day growth game where it's posting on social media every single day for 75 days straight. That's going to start on Monday. So also more about that in the next monthly update. And then another challenge that my coach is running that starts also on Monday, which is about making bigger asks. And like that, I'm very excited about that because our ability to ask for what we want and to just be more bold in that is directly correlated to the success that we can have. And it's so simple, but if we just get over ourselves and our insecurities and fear of rejection, then a lot of doors open up. So yeah, I'm excited for that transformative week next week. Lastly, a quick update on like the AI front. A lot of exciting things are happening. Claude is just making updates every day. It's wild. My new website that I've built with AI so far, it's the first version is basically done, and I want to update it also because now reaching out to podcast hosts, they might check out my website, and what I have right now is just so super simple, as I want something that captures who I am a little bit more. I talked with AI for like a few hours, just giving it input on what my worldview is, like my core beliefs on how I understand what existence is and reality. So there's going to be a page on my website where this is going to be shown. Then I'm working on a small app to enhance my coaching, like just putting my coaching tools into an app, and then I can have that kind of as an interactive experience when I'm in a coaching conversation with a client. That's exciting. And I'm also noticing like I'm running out of credits now really quickly, so I might update to like €100 plan on Claude very soon. That's it, I think, for today. This is what I had in my notes. Yeah, life is beautiful, and I just feel so much excitement, and I really want that more people, I wish that more people can feel that, and it's so accessible. Like we can completely change how we feel about ourselves, about our life, in a moment, basically. And it gives me a lot of hope, and I hope I can give hope to other people who are right now not seeing or not looking at their own life in such a positive way. All right. Thank you for listening and watching, and I'll do another one of those next week. Not next week. What am I saying? Next month. All right. Peace.